What would you do if the calm, quiet teacher in your school suddenly revealed a hidden side forged in the fires of war? A side so disciplined and fierce that it could crush the arrogance of even the most feared bully. This is the story of Wolfe Smith, the rich, entitled student who thought he was untouchable, until the day he laid hands on a woman he thought was weak. Before we dive in, welcome to Voices Unchained. Be sure to like this video, subscribe, and comment your location. We love to see how far these stories travel. Meet Viola Brown. At 30 years old, she was one of the youngest teachers at Eastwood Preparatory, a prestigious private school known for producing senators, lawyers, and CEOs. Viola taught English literature with a grace and gentleness that stood out in a place often defined by competition and ego. Her voice rarely rose above a calm tone. Her lessons were thoughtful. She believed in discipline without humiliation and guidance without fear. Some students respected her for it. Others dismissed her, whispering that she was too soft to control the rowdy ones. But what no one in that room knew was that Viola had once been a soldier. For 8 years, she served in the U.S. military, deployed to dangerous zones, facing moments of life and death. A terrible injury had ended her military career, and she had chosen teaching as her new path. She never spoke of her service. She didn't need to. She thought she had left that life behind. But on this day, fate would call her back into it. Wolfe Smith. If there was a name that sent eye rolls across the school, it was his. He wasn't just a bully, he was the bully, backed by wealth, influence, and two shadow-like goons who followed him everywhere. Wolfe tormented classmates for sport. His father was a wealthy businessman with connections and Wolfe wore that privilege like armor. He believed no teacher, no student, no administrator could touch him. And when Wolfe saw weakness, he fed on it. The classroom was quiet that morning. Sunlight streamed through tall windows, catching the dust motes in the air as students scribbled notes on Shakespeare's Othello. Viola moved gracefully between rows of desks, her voice calm and steady. But in the back corner, a storm was brewing. Wolfe leaned back in his chair, smirking, while his target, Sam, a quiet black student, sat nervously clutching his books. "Hey, Sam," Wolfe sneered, plucking the notebook from Sam's desk. "You dropped something." He tossed it onto the floor. Sam bent down to pick it up. Before he could grab it, Wolfe kicked it farther away. His goons laughed. The room's atmosphere shifted. Students sensed tension, but kept their heads down. "Wolfe," Viola said firmly, though her voice was calm. "Stop that right now. Now." Wolfe leaned forward, resting his chin on his hand. "Or what?" he asked, loud enough for the whole class to hear. "Or you'll show everyone just how childish you really are," Viola replied, steady as ever. The students gasped softly. "Oh, childish?" Wolfe chuckled. "Lady, I'm not a kid. Don't talk to me like one." Viola stepped closer. "Then act like it. Right now, you're embarrassing yourself." The smirk wavered on Wolfe's lips. Students began to exchange looks. Laughter bubbled from the back row. His jaw tightened. "You think you're funny, don't you?" "No," Viola said calmly, "but the class does." That stung. Wolfe's pride cracked. He stood suddenly, slamming his chair back. His friends rose with him, flanking his sides. "Say that again," Wolfe snarled, stepping closer. Viola didn't move, her eyes locked on his, steady, unshaken. "You've already failed this class twice, Wolfe. Maybe you should stop worrying about acting tough and start worrying about passing." The room erupted with laughter, and that was the breaking point. Wolfe's face flushed red. With a yell, he stormed forward, shoved Viola against the wall, and clamped his hand around her throat. Gasps filled the classroom. Books hit the floor. A few students screamed. For a moment, time froze. Wolfe thought he had her, but in less than a heartbeat, Viola changed everything. Her hand shot up, grabbing his wrist. With a sharp twist and a precise shift of her body, she spun out of his hold. In one fluid motion, Wolfe found himself slammed to the floor, his arm twisted painfully behind his back. The room went silent, stunned into disbelief. Viola pressed her knee between his shoulder blades, pinning him easily. Years of military training flooded back like muscle memory. She wasn't breathing hard. She wasn't panicked. She was calm. Deadly calm. "Apologize," she said evenly. Wolfe growled, trying to push up, but she shifted her weight, sending a sharp bolt of pain through his shoulder. He winced, teeth clenched. "I said, apologize." "For what?" He spat, trying to sound tough, but his voice cracked. "For this, and for Sam." Wolfe hesitated. His pride screamed louder than the pain. His goons stood frozen, unsure whether to intervene. Do it, Viola commanded, her grip tightening. I'm sorry, Wolfe blurted, his voice high with pain, to me and to Sam. Wolfe swallowed hard, his face pressed to the cold linoleum. Sorry, Sam. Only then did Viola release him. She stood, straightened her blouse, and looked around the room. Her expression was calm, her tone unwavering. Class dismissed. The students didn't move at first, still too stunned to process what they'd just seen. Then, one by one, they filed out, whispering furiously. Before we move on, I've got to ask you, if you were sitting in that classroom watching this unfold, what would you have done? Would you have stepped in or sat frozen like most of the students? Drop your answer in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this where arrogance meets justice. Wolfe scrambled to his feet, red-faced and humiliated. The mighty bully of Eastwood had been broken by the one teacher he thought was powerless. His father stormed the school the next day demanding Viola be fired, but dozens of students came forward with the same story. Even Wolfe's goons reluctantly admitted what they saw. Wolfe was suspended for the remainder of the semester. His reputation, once built on fear, crumbled overnight. No one looked at him with respect anymore. No one laughed at his jokes. No one followed his lead. For the first time in his life, Wolfe Smith was powerless. As the last students left that day, one stayed behind. Sam. He walked up slowly, clutching his notebook. His voice was quiet but firm. Thank you, Miss Brown, he said, for standing up for me. No one's ever done that before. Viola's expression softened. She rested a hand on his shoulder. Sam, don't thank me. Thank yourself for having the courage to face every day here. You're stronger than you know. He smiled faintly and nodded, and Viola simply packed her books as though nothing extraordinary had happened, because for her, it hadn't been extraordinary at all. It was instinct. The moral was clear. Never mistake quiet for weakness, and never assume arrogance will go unpunished. Sooner or later, every bully meets their match. If you found this story powerful, hit that like button right now and tell me, where in the world are you watching from? I'd love to know. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to Voices Unchained for more stories where truth, justice, and dignity always win.